I do. I love that, dude.
We are live.
Go ahead. I am your host, Heathen. This is my co-host,
Lit Tarzan.
We're here to raise some hell and some
raise some hell.
All right, everybody. Tonight we have a guest. I'm not going to introduce him quite yet. I'm going to scroll down to all my cool stuff here real fast that I have. And then we are going to introduce him. Here we go. There's already 10 people watching. Holy shit. All right, so here we go.
Seismic shockwave straight from the low end of the music world. He's the bass-slinging badass who doesn't just ride the groove, he owns it. He's toured across the country, left crowds breathless, and melted more faces than the summer sun at a biker rally. A storm on the strings, a force on the stage, and a name whispered in green rooms and shouted in arenas. This ain't your average bassist. He's the thunder behind the chaos. He's the growl in your speakers. He's Stormin Norman Voss. And tonight, he's about to tear it up with us like only a true road warrior can. Strap in, pour yourself a shot, and get ready. Cause this episode's about to rumble like a Marshall stack full of dynamite. Let's raise hell and hit that low end. Welcome to the show, Stormin Norman.
Boom.
What? What was that? I loved it. I loved it.
Was that a good intro, bro?
Best intro I ever had. I need to take you with me wherever I go. From now
Bro,
on.
listen, I'm down. Listen, I could be the world's best hype man. Like,
I could stand there.
I wasn't expecting that. That was perfect. That was perfect. You guys are great.
I did it good then.
What a great start. Let's finish it right here because you can't get any better than that.
That's it. We're done. Thanks, folks.
Can't get any better. Sorry, everybody. You keep trying, but not today.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was awesome.
So, let's get into it.
Thanks for coming on our show. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Glad to do it.
Explain to you let me explain to everybody how I ran into you. So, we interviewed Mr. Pete Evick, which was absolutely, that guy is above and beyond awesome. Like, right. He is so rad, right? So, and through that, we ran into you, and so
I ran into you.
You did run into.
Yeah. It's funny. I turned around and I said, I was like, I saw you, and I just walked right up to you, and I said to you, I said, "You're the coolest looking guy here today." And then you didn't even know who I was, and I was like, "That's all I got to say."
And you turned around. He's like, and you walked away, and my wife and her friend were like, "Dude, give him your card and your sticker." And I'm like, "Why?" Now listen, this is the best part. When I turned around and seen you, you were moseying your way through, and dude, I'm looking, and the first thing I noticed were your red jeans. You had red pants on,
right? Yeah,
and the first thing that came through my head was, this dude's a rock star, bro. He's got rock star jeans on. Like, he's got the look, right? Didn't put two and two together. Plus the other guitarist with the purple hair, I didn't realize he was in the band until it all started either.
Right.
So then I'm like, after I gave you I yelled for you coming back.
Right.
And then I said to myself, if I see this fucking guy up on stage, man, I'm gonna shit my fucking pants. Like, and next thing you know, he's out there, doo-doo. I'm like, oh my God, it was him.
Right.
I will tell you this, dude. Listen, I had a bet with my friend Cindy, and I was like, Cindy, let's see who's the loudest. And I can guarantee you, anytime you watch if you watch any videos from that night in Washington, PA,
yeah,
I am that guy.
Sweet. No, that was great.
You did amazing, man. I feel bad because I was just about to talk to you. You had put the cowboy hat on the guy who was a younger kid there. Everybody was singing for him or whatever.
Yes, Will. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Yes. And just when that was just about done, I was just getting ready to talk to you. And then Pete had sent over the girl because I got Moonshine for them guys.
Right.
So I was like, gotta go.
Right, exactly. Here, there. Yeah.
Now, my question is, did you get to taste any of that?
I did not at all. No, only because I wanted to, because again, I was so excited to hear that there's a band called Bon Journey playing in the casino. So I was like, I'm going, because I was talking to everybody, after the show, talking to everybody at the merch. And I said, my only mission was to go see Bon Journey. I was like, I got to go see Bon Journey. I'm going inside, so no, I never did get any either. So sorry.
They took it quick. They were like, boom, 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 boom. I had 9 jars, dude. They were gone.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that then. Good for you, man.
Yeah, Norman, music seems to be like everything for you. I mean, you're playing music and then you're running inside to check out someone else's band.
Right.
It seems to be very special to you. I was watching a lot of the Stormin Norman videos and stuff, and you connecting with everyone. So it was very interesting to me to see that side of your artist just wanting to connect with everybody.
Oh, definitely. I've been playing since I was 13 years old or so. Just turned 59, so I've been doing it a long time. And but I've always been the guy in the crowd. My first concert was Ozzy Osbourne with UFO. So I was probably 15.
Wow.
And it was like, what was that? Like 2 months after Randy Rhoads passed away. So what is that? 1982, I think, or so. But so I was just like, when you go to the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland, that's where I saw Ozzy back then. So that was the first time when I experienced it. I'm like, what is this world? I need to be a part of this. And I was always just a part of it as a fan, as for all these years. I just actually recently posted a picture of me at M3, the M3 Fest in Maryland, also 15 years ago. Again, I'm just a picture of me in the crowd, of course, because I was just a fan of the music. So it's just so funny to me. Now last year we headlined M3, but to me, I was still in the crowd watching every band before us, as that 14-year-old that's still inside of me who loves loud live music, don't let that go.
There's nothing.
I can see that 14-year-old right now, Norman, when you're talking. I can see that 14-year-old.
Right.
I love it, man. I love it.
Here's the coolest thing about all that, though, man. Like, you don't realize what that does to like the average person who's sitting there and they turn around and they're like, holy shit, I'm sitting here, the guitarist of the band is
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how. So, like, dude, just thinking about it makes my hair stand up. So I can only imagine how good it feels for you when that happens to you. Like, that can never get old.
Right? No, definitely not. Definitely not.
That can never get old.
I love to be out there, and I actually just, when I love the reactions, and it's a funny reaction, it's a weird reaction, but I always just try to. I take it to heart. I try to understand it because I try to understand, wow, what if Phil Mogg from UFO was actually in the crowd while I'm waiting to see Ozzy come out or whatever, that kind of thing, where I'm like, what? Why is somebody doing that to me? Well, I try to think back and whatever. But, and then after, now that I've been playing with Bret for 5 years now, I realize now, because I've always been that guy. Before the show, I was like, what do you do before the show? Well, I go out in the crowd before the show because that's what pumps me up. That's what gets me ready. That's where who wants to be alone in a tent or in a dressing room when you could be out in the crowd where the music's playing loud, everyone's got their drinks in their hand, everyone's like, we're ready for this. Like, yes, so am I. Let's do it. And then 5-10 minutes before, I'm like, well, I got to go, but I'm ready for this too.
That's amazing. That's an energy buildup before you go out there. I could see that, and that's really, really cool. And then even maybe to wanting to get it even afterwards, that shows a love for music because, that takes a lot of energy to go on stage and play a whole set. So if you're out looking at other people's music afterwards too, it's a true love for you.
Are you drinking Red Bull before your set? Because my man, bro, you bring the energy. Like you legit. Thanks. Like I was like, my man is all over. You and Pete really like you jive together. Everybody plays well together. But you, by far, like, dude, you were not that you're not all rock stars, bro, but you brought the rock star energy. And that's what we like to see, dude, because that's what pumps me up. That's what's making me scream and yell. You know what I mean? Right. So, dude, you guys killed it, man.
No Red Bull, probably a beer or a moonshine, but
I think Jason's going to have to try to get some moonshine to you then, since you didn't get any last time.
I would love it. I would love it. Bro, it really is the power of the music, though. You know, to me, it's you know what? How could you not? To me, it's so funny. You know, I grew up in the '80s, child of the '80s, of course. I was a huge fan of Poison. You know, and I have to say, I just did not understand when the '90s came. Even though now I have an appreciation for Nirvana, but at the time I'm like, they're looking at their shoes. Why do I want to watch them look at their shoes? You know, I'm more performance. Scorpions was my favorite band back in the day. You know, I was more like, if a band looks like it's the last show they're ever going to play, then of course I can't help to be involved in energy. So when we go on stage, I feel like this is the last show I'm ever going to play. Let me put everything into it, because you never know when this is going to be the last show.
And how long have you been playing with the Bret Michaels band? Like, how long have you been jamming with him?
Yeah, coming up 5 years in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, is it like, when you got the call, like, how was it? Did you have to try out? How did that whole process go? Like, this is shit. Like,
you know, I was so fortunate because we're all from basically from Virginia. Pete's from I've known Pete Evick for about 20 years. I had my band, Stormin Norman Band, and he had his band, Evick, and I would go see his band. And then after a while, I would even say, hey, I want to open up for your band. You have, you know, Evick, the Evick band has the best party in town. You know, it was back in the day, it was more, you know, again, he puts on a great show, and everyone knows it, so everyone comes. So you always know, everyone's going to see everybody else, you know. So I was like, I want my band to open up for you, you know. And he's like, of course, let's do this, you know. So we already had a great relationship. So and I'll tell the quick story actually of how I joined the band was because at one time Evick was playing a wedding, and fortunately their guitar player couldn't make it, so I was able to fill in on lead guitar for them. So I did the gig, and it was like 34 songs at this wedding, and I learned all the songs. You know, I love learning songs. I love learning new songs. It's always a challenge. You know, that's the great thing about music too. When you're like, all right, let me listen. And I'm old school. It's not like I'm going to pull it up on YouTube. I'm going to listen to it with my ear. Like, I don't know. To me, I love that kind of challenge.
Yeah.
So I was able to do it. And Pete afterwards said, man, you were so spot on. I put my guitar down on the second song. So thanks for doing that. That was so awesome of you. It was like, all right, thanks so much. I'm never going to take your place with Bret Michaels. So just thank you for that compliment, because we went on with our lives. That was in May of 21. But in September of 21, Eric Brittingham, who from Cinderella, was their bass player. And that was also around COVID. So I think he thought he had COVID. I think that's what I remember. So he's like, hey, I'm not going to play on Friday. I think I have COVID. That was the situation. So what did Pete was like, okay, who do I know who can learn songs real quick? And that did it for that one, you know. So that's how I got the gig, is because he knew I could learn songs real quick. So it was Tuesday, and the show was a Friday. And he called me up on Tuesday and said, hey, what are you doing Friday? And I said, no, what's going on? He goes, you want to play with Bret in Oregon? I said, yeah. So
did your hair stand up? Was you like, screaming?
Yes. Because again, let alone knowing Pete, but even before that, again, I have a video of me when I'm 18 years old playing Talk Dirty to Me the month the album came out. I got this video, you know. So I was just that back in the day, even in the 80s. That just, I love that music right away. I love like Kicks, all those, I'll call them performance bands. I don't even know if that's the right term, but never heard that word.
Here's a good question then, not to cut you short, but here's a good question.
Go ahead.
So playing that song back then as compared to playing it now, how big is the progression in between?
Right. Yeah. Oh, well, playing it in Farmville, Virginia in front of 20 people to playing it in front of 20,000 people with the guy who wrote the song. Right. You know. But it was an interesting thing, because people said, oh, man, were you nervous? It's funny because I was, a little back up a little more. Mary is our drummer, Mary Schaefer, great drummer.
Yes.
I've known her for 25 years. At one point, before I joined the band, is when Pete asked me, "Hey, what do you think of Mary?" I said, "She's the best. Have her as your drummer. I back her." So so I've known her forever. Our keyboard player, Rob, I've known him since high school. High school.
So you guys have a tight bond already.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
it really wasn't like, if I had to go on stage, let alone going on stage with, again, Bret was the only guy I didn't know,
Oh, wow.
But it was almost like my high school band getting back together, so it was just the perfect flow, so comfortable to get on stage, and just Bret was the icing on the cake. So again, just to back up is that on a Tuesday, he said, "Can you play on Friday?" I said, "Sure." But on Wednesday, he said, "You know what? Why don't you come by my garage? I want to make sure you know the song. We're going to be in front of 15,000 people." I said, "You got it. No problem." And so I was singing at a senior home that day. So I had my little PA in the car. So right before I get to his place, it has his garage. He goes, "I forgot to tell you, Bret's going to be here also." I go, "Okay." So I pull in, I set up my little PA, I have my acoustic guitar, and here comes Bret walking. He shakes my hand. "What's up? Nice to meet you." Grabs my guitar. I have my microphone, everything set up, because I thought it was just me and Pete. But in 10 minutes later, here comes Mary, and it's me and Mary and Pete and Bret Michaels of Poison in a garage playing Poison songs.
The whole band.
Right. And it's just the most surreal moment, because he's dancing, he's singing, he's getting it. That's one of the great things I'll say about Bret. It could be just us four or 40,000 people. It doesn't matter. He's into the music, having a ball, putting on the show. So we did the whole set. We ran through it. He just, at the end, he goes, "That was awesome. Can't wait to see you on Friday." And he was out of there. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That speaks leaps and bounds for your musical abilities to, number one, because it has to be like it. Listen, we know you're a rock star, but when you're performing in front of another rock star, there has to be that little bit of, it's more excitement than nerves. Because bro, you already know you're going to knock it out the park, dog. You know what I mean? And now it's just like being like, you know what? It's being second string and waiting for your number to be called and you being ready.
Right.
And then you taking that starting role, baby.
Right. It's all about being ready, Right. Exactly. Yeah. And just like I was playing a wedding for Evic, but guess what? I'm playing for Bret Michaels' guitar player, Pete Evic. So guess what? I'm going to learn 34 songs down hard. I'm going to make sure I know them, because you never know. You just never know.
So and then how? Okay, so I mean, because you like to play them, as you were, in your 20s or whatnot. So learning it wasn't that hard for you, or what out of all of them was the hardest one that took a minute to really pick up?
I guess Unskinny Bop, because he said listen to the live versions, because we play the songs different. These are all we made them party songs, extended versions. And guess what? Unskinny Bop has a bass solo at the beginning. So, and in my mind, I thought, all right, guess what? I got to learn a bass solo for this, to make sure I got it. That's the most important. So that I made sure, but again, I made sure I had it down. All the songs were in my head from my youth. There was not one song was like, let me listen to that. No, I knew the changes. I just needed to know the notes. But then for Unskinny Bop, it was like, all right, let me get a bass solo down for that. But again, there you go.
So who's all?
I'm sure that
Bret
Michaels had such a good energy that once you started playing with him too, that you picked up on that energy. It just flowed. You probably knew it. Knew it.
Yep. He's the kind of guy, again, we were in a garage, 4 people, almost like we were in high school again. And this guy, there's a singer, he has some cool songs. Maybe we should join a band with him. And it was like, oh, wow, he does have some cool songs. I think we got the same energy. I think we could maybe form some.
Right. So is this Oliver? Is this your brother?
That's my brother. That's right. So he's my guitar player in my band, actually. We've been playing together for 20 years.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now who's older, you or him?
He's 4 years older.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So when you guys are in your band, you're the boss, right?
Well, it's funny. I started guitar first, and then he's like, that's a cool thing to do. He learned guitar. So then it was the great thing about our band. It's like, I love double leads. I love Thin Lizzy, Iron Maiden. So it's so good. We had so much fun. We're like, let's pull in double lead. You know, to me, how do you impress people? Double leads together. So it's great to do it with, again, my brother, of course, of 59 years. But interesting thing with the Stormin Norman band, I always want music to be fun, to be a thing where we are friends, you know. So I had my wife play bass for 10 years. She played bass for 10 years, and then I had my best friend Frankie B play bass after her. So it's always about friendship. Of course, you know, I never wanted a band to be a hassle, to be a problem. So I always then brought in my brother, my wife, my best friend. I taught my wife to play bass, and she joined the band 3 weeks later, crazily enough.
So that's what blows my mind, because you don't just play the bass, dude. You play the bass, you play the guitar. You know what I mean? Like, you're an all around, like, you know, bass and guitar are different. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
And I'm sure you can probably sit down behind the drums if you can play the bass.
I did a CD that I played all instruments: drums, keyboards, guitar.
So how is it? So what was the first one that you started out with? The very first one?
Guitar. Yeah.
Now, how is it learning all the different? You know what I mean? Because, like, dude, I can't read a lick of music. Like, I'm more of a, I got to hear it kind of thing. But I've taken drum lessons before, and I can keep a beat and play that kind of thing. Okay, but I ain't like all the crazy rock star stuff. But, like, is there any similarities when you're learning all the different instruments in learning it, I guess?
To me, all music is, if you can pat your head and go in a circle, you know, you got the rhythm. And if you got rhythm, you can play drums. If you got rhythm, that's the important part of anybody. You know, if you got rhythm, then guitar will come. As long as you get your fingers in the right place, of course, bass, it's about the rhythm, you know, everything is about keeping, then you're in sync with everyone else, you know? So, thank you, Colleen, for the good double lead.
I agree with the double lead, because there's so many good metal bands that I love that have double lead guitar players that when they can feed off of each other, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and listen, and watching him play, that whole band, like, dude, it looked like you guys have been touring for, like, since high school.
Well, they have been.
I know, that's what I mean. So they're very, very comfortable, and you could see that with everything that they played, man. Like, the energy. Even Bret, I know Bret had to leave because of his situations, but the whole band had energy, dude, and it was a good show. So, you know, being 59, dude, listen, I hope I can still bring that type of energy to anything at that age, bro.
Right,
killing it. So,
I tell you what,
one of the things I read was that Kiss was an early influence for you. I mean, how old were you when you actually started playing guitar?
Well, that was 13, so 1979. Yeah, I still remember Kiss Alive 2. You know, again, I'm sure every kid had that moment. You opened up that double gatefold, and it's them with the fire.
And spitting, with the tongue,
So
every inset of every Kiss album I thought was special, but I remember the back of the circus magazines where you could enter the contest dressing up like Kiss. And back around here, I've never ever heard of Wawa, but we had one of the very first original Wawas in this area. It's like a small convenience store, and they had video games in there. And when I was a kid, I used to dress up like Gene Simmons, paint my face, and I'd go up there and play Asteroids and play video games with my face painted like Kiss, and I would try to win those contests in the back of the circus magazines.
That's great.
Hey, just imagine driving to work and you look over and you see this 13-year-old fucking lit Tarzan, full-blown makeup,
full makeup, with a thing full of quarters just to sit up there and play games all day.
Right. Not to play pinball normal. You got to do it as Gene Simmons. That's great.
I was convinced Gene Simmons was part serpent when I was young. I didn't really think he was really
right. Exactly, because that's what it was back when you're little. The rock stars were not normal human beings. They lived on a mountain. And they were rock gods, and they weren't human, and they were separate and different. That was that amazing thing.
The smell of the incense of the albums smelled like metal gods to me. You could smell those old incense when you opened them up. That ink crisp smell. It was godly itself.
Yep.
I still have a lot of records.
And let me throw in now, only because I'm sure you guys saw how Black Sabbath just had their final show in Birmingham, England. So, and just to me, I just looked up actually all the ages, like Sammy Hagar, 77, Steven Tyler, 77, Ozzy, 76, Tony Iommi, 77, Kyle Smine, the Scorpions, 77. These people are now in their late 70s, still rocking.
I know.
Scorpions just started their tour the same day, on Sunday. So at 65, their 60th year of playing music. That just blows my mind, It's incredible.
The Scorpions are so awesome. When I grew up, they were one of my favorite bands, and there was something about that guy. I mean, their guitar player was amazing, but their vocalist, he sang English, but it was kind of in a different way. I don't know how to explain it, but I loved the nuance of his vocals, because you could tell he talked in a different language, but he sang in English, and it has a certain thing to it. And I fell in love with that when I was a kid. I loved the Scorpions, man. Love
it. Same here. And the thing is, I could not sing a Scorpion song. For some, he has such a high, it's up there. I can't reach it. So that's why I have an extra rep. I just respect him so much. They're making a movie about the Scorpions too. So again, I just love all this. How they're keeping the spirit alive of rock and roll. That as a kid, I thought there's nothing else in the world that matters but rock and roll. So I love that.
What a good time, baby.
The thing is, as a young person listening to that music, kind of wishing you could be a singer in a band. With bands like that, if you couldn't sing, you couldn't sing. Those were real singers, like Sebastian Bach, all those guys. Their musical talent with their vocals is amazing. So we grew up in an era where, these guys, they made you look like a bad singer if you couldn't sing.
But we tried. We certainly tried. Because again, that was in high school. Hey, you play? Let's get together. Who's a singer? We got to find a singer. He's not that good, but he has long hair. He's the one.
All right. I got some fun questions here for you, man.
All right. Hit it.
So if Norman Voss was a shot, what would it be made of?
Ooh.
A shot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah, shot of liquor. What would it be? What would your shot? What would it be?
What would it be?
It's funny. Many times when we're about to go on, I go for the classic only because of the mystique of rock and roll of Jack.
I knew it.
Jack and Pete usually has a fifth of Jack behind the stage also. So actually, the actual one we must do is Jack Daniels.
Yes,
that's a pretty good one. Now, just so I make a Jack Daniels.
Oh, really? Interesting,
bro. I'm a master distiller, man. If I could put it, listen, if you wanted it to taste like a motorcycle, and I could stick that motorcycle in my still, your moonshine's going to taste like a motorcycle.
That's great. That's
a little leather and oil in there. I'm sure a little leather and oil. You could get it.
They threw me to the wolves, bro. They put me on TV, and they're like, "Listen, we're going to need you to do something you ain't never done before." And
gotcha.
Like, what's that? They're like, make moonshine out of day old pastries, and I'm like, okay.
That's great, man.
Oh yeah. All right, we can do it. All right, so here's another one for you. Living or dead, who, if you could, who is on your bucket list to play with, to jam with, if they were alive or dead?
Oh, a tough one. Right. I remember when I was a kid also, I had this whole period of the Doors. So I guess I would say maybe Jim Morrison, because I just thought he was also the larger than life singer, and he just, controversy went with him wherever he played, and he didn't care. He was even before maybe it'll make me more famous. He didn't even care, but it did make him more famous, of getting arrested on stage, but he just did not care and thinking oh, no, again, he was the son of an admiral, I think, for the Navy. He was
Yeah.
from Alexandria, Virginia. But just to not even, to have that kind of mentality of, I'm doing what I do. If if I end up in jail because of it, it is what it is. I don't know. It blows my mind. But there's so many. David Bowie, just being from outer space, or whatever, all these different kind of people, or anybody in Leonard Skinner, I don't know, all the guys. That's
really like the kind of, so if you had a choice to play like, okay, so if someone was like, all right, bro, we're just going to need you to play like either some 80s hair metal or some metal, like some metal. What are you taking? What are you picking?
There's some. It's funny. I was a singer only for a heavy metal band in the 80s too, early 90s. Sinister Grin was the name of the band. And when we did Pantera, Walk.
Yeah.
Respect, walk. I just loved doing that. That was because it's intense. It's dude. Heavy metal, as you're saying, is just it turns up the intensity. I give me a mellow ballad, I'll take it also. But it's funny with the different types of music and more full contact type of metal where everyone's moshing or whatever. Like, oh, what's going on here? I get, I love it. That's why I love it all. I love it all.
That's what makes you a rock star. Like you're just awesome, dude. I'm not trying to like whatever, but it's like you're just not about one genre, dude. Like, dude, you can listen, man. I'm sure if you had a harmonica, you're probably going to pick it up and play it.
Right.
You're a straight up musician, man. Like,
yes.
That's what's awesome about you. Like the energy, the ability to play fucking anything, man. Maybe you guys should write that in your set. Be like, listen, Bret, you just do a couple little. I'm gonna play the rest, and we'll make it all work.
There you go. It's funny. 2 years ago, we played it's called the '80s Cruise. So it's all '80s bands, and it's funny. The one guy who I loved the most was Tone Loc. I went to see him both shows. Let's do it. And it's just the voice, just to hear that growl of his voice. Wow. So to me, I was like, I gotta see, I just love all kinds of music. So, now I'll jump into the coolest thing about Bret. What he did in the last 2 years was he did the Party Gras tour, which all of a sudden we're the backing band for Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray. So we're playing Sugar Ray songs in front of 20,000 people with the singer of the band. But Lou Gramm of Foreigner, we're playing Foreigner songs with Lou Gramm, in front of, and Steve Algeri of Journey. It's just amazing to be able to not only play with Bret Michaels' Poison songs. What? No, I can't believe I'm doing this. But then to play with Lou Gramm of Foreigner, it's just incredible. Yeah. So really, you didn't expect that to happen, but all of a sudden it did.
I guess that's one of the advantages of being, associated and just being a rock star, bro. It's a fraternity, it's a brotherhood. It's right. You know what I mean? It really is. So like being able, because I'm sure some rock stars are like, listen, bro, if you can't play this, then you don't even come on stage. You know what I mean? Like some could be that way. I can only imagine. Now, here is a question from the crowd.
Okay.
What is one of your favorite songs to perform with the Bret Michaels band?
Yes, easy. Give me something to believe in.
You can sing it too, folks.
Yeah. Because of course, because Bret, he had everyone in the crowd gets their phone, little light on. And again, usually in the middle, he tries to get any veterans in the crowd up onto the stage, just the message of the song. It always gets my hair standing on end, and it's just such a community. It's like all of a sudden it's a community, when you have everyone's phone is on, we're all together as one, and it's just like, take in the moment, that kind of thing. And then nothing but a good time, of course.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have that. Well, Norman, you're putting that good energy out there, man. All that good energy. No wonder you're getting to play with some of these people that you look up to. And I mean, I just believe that's you're getting back what you're putting out there, and especially out there playing to some of the people that I see you're playing to, even with a little ukulele. And and some of the homes and for some of the old people and the handicapped people. And to me, that's what touched me when I saw that. And I think that you deserve to play with everyone that you're getting a chance to play with, my friend,
Thank
because
you
of what
so
you're
much.
doing.
Thank you so much. Well,
Listen,
you know what? Go on.
You make them the rock star, bro.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, because after, again, playing with him for coming up on 5 years, different shows, you start, I never really realized, I don't know. You don't realize things until you do it a lot. And like, wow, there's this whole section of people in wheelchairs. And like you said earlier, how like, oh, I can't believe the guy who's playing is in the crowd. Like, wow, I wonder how they would feel if I would actually come up to them and start talking to them, and they're like, what? So then I also, in my mind, I started like, what can I do? Let me give you a bracelet, and I would give people bracelets or a necklace or whatever. And then other fans were like, Norman, we see what you're doing. We're making you bracelets to give to other people. So it's just this camaraderie that then came together of positivity, showing love and respect. And again, just to show people who are going through a hard time, that like, wow, okay, you know what? You're come to see me. Well, I'm not me, but Bret, but I'm here for you. I want to make, like you said, I want to make you the rock star. I want to make you feel special for this night and know that you're not just somebody in the crowd. That became like, wow, that's my goal. That's my purpose, and my mission, and that's what I try to, what you were saying. That's Tarzan. yeah.
Purpose, bro. And it's great to know what your purpose is. And like, no, your purpose is exactly that. Like, you're there to spread music because music is what bonds a lot. Dude, listen, one of the first things I do every day is listen to music. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Music is life in this house. Like, there has to be music. And that's how I was raised at home. Like, there was always music played somewhere. And music is just, it breaks the silence, man.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It breaks
and
the silence.
Everybody's going through something.
Yeah.
Everybody out there is going through something. Right. Some people a little worse than other at times. Right. And I think that that's really neat that you try to connect with those people because they need it.
Right.
They need it. They need that energy. You have such a good energy. I feel like not even just a normal podcaster right now. I feel like I feel that energy from you, Norman. I really do. I feel lucky. I feel lucky to have gotten to meet you, man. And I have a Pepsi, but hey, I'm drinking too.
That's fine. But I appreciate that because, I think, like you said, music is the great connector. I believe God created music for humans to connect throughout the world or just one-on-one in some kind of way. So, and I tell you what, it's funny. I sang at senior homes for the last 15 years. That was something I also love. So one time I was singing in a bar and a guy who worked at a senior home asked me to do it. And I just like, I never thought of that. Let me try it. And I have on I still use the same iPod from 15 years ago. And it could show you how many times you played karaoke, What a Wonderful World, which is over 1,000 times. So, I don't know. I've been to a lot of seniors like once or twice a week for the last 15 years. And I just love doing it because it doesn't matter the age. Because again, you're touching them. If I sing Sinatra to an 80-year-old, it takes them right back to when they were 20.
Oh, yeah, man.
Man, instant memory. The only thing is, being a rock star, you better be on your toes just because you're at an old person's home. I'm sure they could still throw certain things at you. You might not want to catch, dog.
It was so funny. I played at senior home and I was about to get on the table, pretending I'm getting on the table, but then a lady got up immediately and was trying to get on the table with me.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't do that.
Right.
You have to love that old lady, man. You know what I mean? God bless her. She's like, I'm getting up there too, man.
Yeah. And the story I always tell people, what amazing thing music is that one time I was in a senior home and I asked a woman, I said, what's your name? And the intro started to the song. But I go, real quick, what's your name? And she just goes, I don't know. But then the song started, I go, wise men say, and she goes, Only fools rush in. So she didn't know her own name, but she remembered the lyrics to a song that who knows the last time she even sang it. But that's, that stayed in her mind her whole life, but not even her own name. Like, it just blows my mind of, again, what the power of music.
See, and I've always said that too, because like, it's nuts. I feel like sometimes I could be like the human jukebox, like, or like anything comes on, I'm going to tell you who it is. And it's like, you can remember the words to a song forever, but you can't remember what you had for dinner yesterday.
Right. No, exactly. Right.
It's
weird with the brain.
It's the music. And
the connection with music and human beings is amazing. I mean, our last guest, Kevin Palmer, was telling us about his son and how he connected with him through the guitar and learning disabilities. And that was how he found to really connect with his own son, and it led to his career. So it's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Story. What was it? He was trying to get him to crawl or walk or something like that, and he would only come to the sound of the guitar or something like that. And where he would play it, he said, and it got to the point where he even, he would come to him playing the guitar, and it got him to start walking. He was very far behind in growing and learning and stuff like that. He says, but that kind of, and then boom, he went out and learned how to play the guitar. He bought a guitar and then taught himself how to play. Wow. And he had like 20 some awards. Like
I saw that at the beginning of the show. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, great. #1 song in Europe, I think it said too. So
what else did he have? He had something like he was outlaw artist or outlaw film of the year. I don't know. I mean, he had some stuff.
I had the best outlaw songwriter of the year for the American Songwriters Guild, or the something like the World Songwriters Guild or Association or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's won a bunch of awards. But what I was saying was about him, connecting with his son through music, and I think everyone could connect through music, and even like music of all different nationalities and everything. I mean, you can still connect with it, I believe. It's all got a beat to it.
Exactly. Whenever I get with, like just today, I was with my dad. He's turning 90 next week, so I'm always over there hanging out with him. He loves Dixieland. He loves there's on Spotify. It's called 40s wartime music. Benny Goodman, cool. Glenn Miller, all that kind of stuff, and we're just having a ball, because that's what gets him going, and I just love that, for him.
Yeah, so how was it? That leads to a good question, man. So how was like mom and dad when you said that? Hey, look, I'm gonna be a rock star.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I didn't say that. I said I want to buy a guitar. So I still remember this song because my mom was like, "Don't you just want a harmonica? Just get a harmonica." No, I want a guitar.
And then have they ever been to like one of your big shows and watched you play? Like,
well, they were at. Well, I do remember the first show was our high school talent show. And so what they said was they came to that. They could not, because I was always the super shy guy, never said anything. But then when I was on stage, like, they're from Germany. Was that Norman on stage? That can't be Norman on stage. He's not like that.
That's your rock star alter ego, bro. It just came out, man.
Right.
That's funny, dude. That's so cool. Yeah, because normally, parents are like, Mom, I'm gonna be a rock star. You're like, no.
Yeah. Now they support, again, they got me the guitar, even though she wanted me a harmonica. Because again, she didn't think, why am I going to buy a $200 guitar? Let me just get this $15 harmonica at first. Right. I understand it. I'd probably say the same thing. But again, she got me the guitar, and then through college and everything, kept playing. And, but by the way, just to throw in there, my mom worked for the federal government, Department of Defense. She got me my job in 1984 for the Department of Defense. So I worked for 40 years, 4 decades. I retired last year. So from the federal government. Wow. So I've always been so I always listen to my mom, like, never quit your day job.
Yo, your mom is smart, bro. Paper, bro.
Here I am I'm talking to a ex Department of Defense guy about moonshine and shit like that. Like I should have done a little more deeper dive into the rabbit hole.
Right.
Yes. She said, "Go ahead with your bohemian lifestyle. I'm going to get you over here. We're going to get you on paper at the same time because that's brilliant. That's brilliant."
40 years. Were you behind a desk?
Behind the desk for 40 years. Yeah, I always had a good head on my shoulders, I guess I'll say, only because in the 90s, I was playing in this punk rock band. We would tour the country, and I would always take the vacation time from work. And then at one point, they're like, we're going to get, the band said, "Guy, we had a meeting. We're going to get signed. Drummer, are you quitting your day job?" "Yeah, I'm quitting." "Bassist, you quitting your day?" "Norman, you quitting your day job?" Like, "No, I'm not quitting my job." I didn't, And we broke up 6 months later, so I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, man. Yeah. See, yeah, smart. That's smart. You're like, "No, I ain't quitting my fucking day job." Fuck.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any other hobbies other than playing guitar? Was there anything else like sports or hunting or fishing or any other thing that you did other than playing guitar? Or was it like once you got that guitar in your hand, like every weekend was dedicated to guitar for the rest of your life?
That's correct. That's what it was. Yeah, not sports. Not really into hunting, fishing, not into really. And I always tell people who want, like, I used to give guitar lessons and stuff, but I don't really, anymore. But I always would say to them, you're going to be good or get better if when, like, say you come home from out partying at 1 a.m, you still want to pick it up before you go to bed. You wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is pick it up. Then you're going to get better. If it's more like, I guess I should try it some more, you know what I mean? You got to have that all-time thing going on, and then you can't help not getting better. So
this is exactly what I like to tell people. It's when you take a passion and you turn that passion into an obsession.
Right. Yeah. Right. Good.
That's when you become that next level, man. You know what I mean? Because that's what I did with the moonshine, dude. Like, my passion was to make moonshine. And then I turned that passion into an obsession where it was like, dude, nonstop. I was making this, I was doing that, doing 100 different things, blowing the garage up, fucking doing all this shit, like learning the hard way. And dude, I can tell you this, like, nobody taught me nothing. Like, I taught myself everything I know, and I'll take full credit for that.
Take credit. Exactly.
Right. You have to, man. Like, now, granted, if I had it, like, this is one of those moments where you realize, like, for me, I knew, like, this is the route I should do, because, like, I tried to explain this to one of the moonshiners on the show. I said, this is the wild part. Every time I had a problem in life, like at the steel site, couldn't figure it out. I'm watching this is no bullshit, dude. I'm watching the next episode of Moonshiners, and they're fixing the problem.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Everyone. And I'm like, this is the path, dude. That's a sign. There's an energy. It's all give it. Right. I'll take every bit of it, man.
Right. That's a great thing when you're able to find your path in life and to follow it, and to be successful at it. You know what I mean? That's such a rare thing. The 1%ers, in a sense, but it also takes the work, though. Many people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. You know
what they say? Everybody wants to do 1% shit until it's time to do 1% shit.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Until they're by themselves doing 1% stuff. It's fun with a crowd. But when you're doing it by yourself, that's when it really comes down to if you got some nuts or not, really.
Here's a good one. What's the last song you played off of your playlist? What are you listening to nowadays?
Oh, you know what? Well, I don't know I listen to a lot of reggae, actually. Cool. I love, there's this thing, there's a genre of itself. It's called American reggae, but it's a band called Stick Figure that I just love. So
you love Stick Figure.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Dude, they tour with Dirty Heads and Slightly Stupid all the time.
Yes. So by the way, I've been, they have a fest in Cancun called Closer to the Sun. I've been there. We went twice. It's a week-long thing. Dirty Heads are there. Slightly, of course, Slightly Stupid. They run it, and Stick Figure, Pepper, all the band. Especially summertime, it just puts me in that good mood, the good vibes.
The good vibes, bro. See, you're high energy, man. That's, you know what I mean? Like, that's good shit. Like, 'cause we're Dirty Head fans here. Like, I love heavy metal and I love all that, but dude, I'm like Sublime, Dirty Heads.
Right.
Dude, we even went as far as we visited Bradley Noel's grave in California when we were out there.
Oh, cool.
In Long Beach. And we even because everybody was leaving little things, so we left a little lighter, initial lighter and shit, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, man.
And how great now that his son has taken over. It's really another full circle.
Not know that.
He's the singer for Sublime. But so it was Rome with Sublime, and Rome actually he played with us. We played Sublime songs with Rome. But again, I have a great respect for him. He's a great musician in and of itself, and the funnest guy to hang out with. I love Rome. But anyways, now Rome has stepped aside because Brad's son has now taken over his role as guitarist, lead singer for Sublime.
And he proved himself to do that, huh?
Right. Yeah. So good for them.
And kudos to Rome for, stepping back and being like, hey, dude, carry the torch.
Yep.
That
Exactly.
gave me chills, bro. That just
That's neat, right? And by the way, I'm glad you know Dirty Heads. They're the funnest band around. I love them.
They are, dude. So now there you go. Is that like a benefit of being, a rock star? So like, say you want to go see the Dirty Heads, you're like, hey, manager, get a hold of their manager. Yeah, how does that work? Like, do you just go there? What's the deal?
No, not at all. Not at all. Really. But I'm not that kind of guy. I would never do that. I don't know. Some people do that. I don't know. I'm not that kind of guy. If I'm going to go see a show, I'm going to pay for the show. That's my show of respect, because they're all musicians. They're working, and no, but we went every show I've seen. I've never gotten someone gotten me in for free in any kind of way or whatever.
But like once you're in there, do you pull the strings? Like, hey, but like if they know you, like, you're going to be like, yeah.
I wish I could give you a story, but I can't. There's not one. No. But although, you know what? In the last 5 years, I don't think I've seen. I saw Dirty Heads. I saw Dirty Heads and Sublime with Rome while I was in Bret Michaels. That was the one time, but I didn't know Rome yet. We went as fans. I went with my brother and my good bass player, and we went as fans. So no, I've never gotten a get me in for free type thing.
See, I'll tell you this, Pete was a man of his word. I was blown away. He messed up, and I don't want to get him in trouble. But I only needed 3. I didn't need any, actually, because we bought our own. Okay. And when we got to the door, I didn't know what to do. So I told them my name, and they were like, oh, here's an envelope.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'm like, what? There was tickets in there. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, man. Like, I didn't know that was going to be happening. So I was like, kind of like, oh, okay, right. So we bought our tickets, but then he had also given us tickets. So we were
great.
There was another lady that was sitting next to us, and we just gave her fun, spread the love around.
There you
go.
Pete's cool like that. Yeah. When you don't expect, like, he remembers who you are or what you're about, or, he'll come through and like, oh wow, what a nice thing,
Bro, he'd give me his personal phone number, and he's like, text me anytime, dude.
There you go. Exactly. That's how he is. Yep.
Go ahead, Rich.
I was going to ask him, do you have any tattoos?
I hate to say, my mother. My mother said,
"You don't."
It's so funny, you know what? My mom passed away 2 years ago, so now me and my wife are like, "Let's go get tattoos." But then
now it's time to get tattoos.
Award-winning tattoo artist, right there, bro.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, his dad taught me how to tattoo 37 years ago.
Wow.
And I've been professionally tattooing ever since. So
that's awesome.
He and I
maybe you're the guy. Maybe you're going to be my first here then. That'd be great.
Maybe we'll never know. It's a possibility.
This ain't no shit. He just told me. He says he told me. Was it him? You're like, I'm going to end up tattooing one of these dudes. They don't realize that, but I'm going to.
I love it.
You got to watch out. You drink that moonshine and get around us, you're going to know what a tattoo.
Right. Listen, I'll hit you with a Sharpie. He's going to get you with the 4 mag or 7 mag or something, dude. It's going to hurt.
Yeah. Tarzan, are you in Pennsylvania also?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm in Westchester.
I'm in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I'm not.
But I travel. I travel and tattoo. So.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
You're in Virginia, right?
Virginia, correct.
Virginia. Okay. Now, have you and Pete made a candle yet? Like let's get together and make a cool candle.
You know what? No. Although it's a funny thing, when I first got close to Pete, or we became closer friends, because I love making videos. So I started making a lot of commercials for his candle company. So we worked on video ideas, songs. I wrote songs for this Shining Soul. I made videos for Shining Soul. And that's how we got closer and closer for then to say, then he'd, it's funny with Pete, because I understand him completely, because again, he's Bret's right-hand man. He has a million people. Hey, let's be buddies. Hey, but then he started, in my opinion, he started realizing, oh, you know what, Norman's a cool guy. You know, maybe, yeah, open up for us kind of thing, you know. Oh, and then he even called me. He said, man, open up for Bret. Have my band open up for Bret Michaels' band. You know, I was like, what? You know, I didn't ask. And so he offered that. So I think, you know, again, once we were sort of working together on his candle company stuff for advertising, for commercials and stuff, that's when we had a closer bond. Yeah.
See, and that's what, that's why you could tell like the band works. Like you guys, like there's the vibe is deeper than just the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a friendship, friendship energy.
Yeah. Dude, and great band.
Really cool.
Great band. Right. I mean, you can't even really like this. That's the first time I've seen Bret Michaels. That's the first time I've seen any of it, dude. And I was like, you know, I'm the guy that goes there. Like, I'm not really listening to the singing part. Like I do, but what I love is to watch you play the guitar or the drummer play the drums. Like, dude, when she did her drum solo.
Right.
My hair stood out, like not that it could stand up anymore, but it was like because I love the process of the music. I love everything about it, man. Like
just the intensity.
I love to watch you guys play it because like that to me is what the show is all about. And then the energy and the singing is a bonus, but it's more of the music for me.
Yeah, I hear you. Although that was the one amazing show for, in a weird way for Bret, because his blood sugar was lower than it ever was. He was saying like he shouldn't even be alive. You know, he shouldn't have lived to the end of that set, but he, you know, miraculously did, thank God. And, but to, again, put on a show like he did when he's actually, he didn't even know where he was. It was so intense. And I don't know much about diabetes, but he's lived with it his whole life. You know, but that was the one show that set him off. Like I need to take a break, you know, kind of thing. That's why we actually we canceled some shows in Washington State. Well, we were supposed to play tonight, actually. For him, just like let me rest, you know, let me get straight again, you know, because to be at 62, he is now. To still be fighting this, you know. I remember when I was 20, I had a friend who had diabetes, Tony, and he they cut off his foot because of it, and then he passed away. He passed away, you know, because of diabetes. So again, I don't know the ins and outs, but I know it's an everyday struggle. I do remember hanging out on Thanksgiving. We had the band got together at Big John's house for Thanksgiving, his old security guy. And at the end of the night, it was just me and Bret in the kitchen. And I just didn't expect this, only because he just pulled out his needle and shot himself up in the thigh. It's putting the glucose or whatever. Insulin. I'm sorry, insulin. It's like, that's something you deal. And he goes, yeah, I have to do this, I think 5 times a day, he said. You know, it's such
he must have bad. If he's shooting up 5 times a day, he's got pretty serious diabetes, man. They might need to. They need to keep a little guy on the side of the stage with a blowgun and whack him about halfway through the set. You know, if they see him start to just hit him with it, you know.
I like that idea, dude. They wouldn't even. It wouldn't even feel it, Bret. Like a little spitball, you know what I mean?
The designated guy.
Oh man,
you'd have to be outside like practicing 2 times a day. Listen, because just because he's that old, it doesn't mean that he moves around too, dude.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, right. I missed him again. Quit moving.
I'm going to have to get out to one of the shows here. I care for my elderly mother, so I'm still tied down for a while. But
gotcha.
By next year, I'm going to be on the road with this guy over here. We're going to be traveling and
that'd be great,
tattooing and
we're just that's
good for you guys. Do it.
And sell it.
We're going to have an RV. We're going to have tattoo equipment, and we're going to be doing also a little bit of looking for Bigfoot. So, I mean, Norman, what do you think about Bigfoot? You think Bigfoot's real, or what are your thoughts on Bigfoot?
Wow, that was a new one.
And he asked this that's one of our staple questions.
Hey, you're an energy guy. You're a natural guy to me. Like you're connected. So
well, since you told me that you're renting an RV, since you said you're going to rent an RV and search the country for Bigfoot, of course Bigfoot is real. I can't tell you no.
You're saying there's a chance.
Get that RV. Tattoo.
I love that answer.
Right?
No. Yes, Norman.
Go for it, man. That's what he's telling us to go for it. Fine.
That's our commercial.
Right.
That's our commercial.
Tell you what, last two weeks ago, we played in Montana. West Yellowstone was the town. I rented an electric bicycle, and you can go 10 miles into the woods. And I was all by myself. And boy, oh boy, did I think I saw
Bigfoot.
Did
it look like him?
Yes.
I turned that bicycle around in 1 second. I got out of there. So you probably would have stayed, but I was gone.
No, I don't know. I don't ever know how I would react to it because that's something you don't know. That's like flight or fight, you know, you're going to run or you're going to stand. So you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
What he's going to do, he's going to be like, he's going to drop an elbow on him or something like that.
Right.
You got to watch those Bigfoot videos on Facebook, dude. Have you seen them? Oh my God! Listen. Oh Lord. Look.
No, they're funny. Those ones where he's running with the camera and he finds a bag of blow and he's doing it.
Listen. Oh my God! Mushrooms. The mushroom one's the best. He's like, I can hear colors.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And that takes us to like we interviewed Steve Lynch from Autograph.
I love him, by the way. I met him before. Great guy.
Listen, he's super awesome. He was telling us his story about he was playing somewhere and this chick leaned in to like talk to him and she dripped the LSD into his coffee. She was
she dosed him.
A fan. And he went to like hear what she was saying and she drip, drip. He says, dude, he said, the band looked at me like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't know, man. He said like the guitar's moving and shit, dude. He said it was like,
oh man.
What did he call her? What did he name her? He had a name, Devil Bitch Woman or something. Devil.
Oh yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was. I don't remember the name of it, but I think Kenny Parker wrote a song about that too for him.
Yeah,
that's
I was laughing my ass off, dude. So nothing has ever happened like that to you, like
no. Thankfully not. No.
Because like, dude, you're a floater, bro. You like to go through and meet everybody and talk to people. So like, you better stay on your toes, bro.
Right.
I think he said she was a witch. He said this was like back in the 80s, and she was all in black. She had like white on her face, black around her eyes. He said, and this is back before there was goth, and even like real heavy black metal or any of that stuff. So. He called her. He said she was some kind of witch. That's what he called her.
Devil witch.
She must have been a witch if she was dosing him with that stuff, man.
So funny. I would expect it from like the band The Cult or Sisters of Mercy, but not Autograph. Like who's doing that to Autograph?
Right, exactly, dude.
Somebody a little twisted. Right. Somebody a little twisted. She wanted to twist his mind.
I mean, she was just trying to spice up the night. That's all.
I guess.
Well, listen, Norman, we've been over our time.
It flew by, right? Yeah, that's great.
Dude, listen, I think the best part of these interviews, I'm just going to put this out there, is I wrote a shit ton of questions down. I didn't even have to ask them because the way the interview went, you answered them on your own.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just more smooth, and that's better.
Bro, you were an amazing guest, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. That's so nice.
Is there anything else coming up for you that you want everybody to know? Like what's up? Are you going to be anywhere soon or?
Well, I'm going to be getting up at 3:30 in the morning to fly to Edmonton, Canada to play with Queensryche, Joan Jett, and Def Leppard on Friday.
Whoa, dude, that's amazing. I'm jealous.
Listen,
I'm so jealous
if I give you my phone number, can you just send me a photo from on stage, bro? Just
Listen, every show I post a photo of me on stage. What are you talking about?
Beautiful. We'll be on there. We'll be checking your stuff out.
Yeah. So every weekend is like, what am I doing this weekend? Where am I going this weekend?
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Queensryche, you're talking about vocals, Queensryche.
Right.
My God, the vocals, amazing.
Yes, exactly. I love Queensryche. You know, I did there's a Monsters of Rock cruise for 7 years. It's like 40 80s bands. I did it as a fan for 7 years. I wasn't in Bret Michaels. So again, I've always been such a fan. So, and I've seen Queensryche 7 times. They were on pretty much every cruise. So, I've never seen Joan Jett. So I was a big fan of Runaways.
Well, I think I have a crush on Joan Jett since I was like 16 years old.
Right,
and I believe she might be from this area. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Rockville, Maryland. She lived for a while, actually. By the way, as a kid.
Yeah,
so I know this.
I just seen it.
And Def Leppard. Def Leppard's amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
Legends. My first song I ever learned was Def Leppard Wasted. I didn't even know how to tune a guitar, but I needed to play that song, and me and my buddy stood on his bed, like that was the stage. I was 16. I remember like it was yesterday, it was like, so now to be playing with the actual band, it's incredible,
Isn't it like, it's surreal. It's like very humbling to know, like, so for like me, right? Like, you don't want to tell yourself like I belong in this space, but you do. You know what I mean? Like, but then when somebody else is like, bro, holy fucking shit, you just melted it. Like you just killed it. Then you're like, it's all I needed to hear, baby.
Right.
We're gonna let it go now, man. We're gonna have some fucking fun. I just come out of my shell. That's all. I just need a little reassurance.
Exactly. No, exactly. So So every weekend we're playing until September. So I'll say go to bretmichaels.com/tour if you want to see where we're at, because we're, sort of weekend warriors. Some weeks we're gone for a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's, but most weeks it's the weekend, but go check out his page and you'll see where we're at,
Bro, listen, you brought a lot of fans to my page, and there was
awesome.
33. I mean, it don't sound like a lot. It is 33 views, almost damn near the whole entire time. So
awesome. And I just saw one of my very first drummers, Frank Vollmer, was on here, so that's great.
right here. I got it. Hold on, where's he at?
Appreciate it, Norman. So big. It was wonderful having you on here. Your energy is amazing.
He's awesome. Listen, I had somebody actually reach out because I had posted a picture with the what's the keyboard's name?
Rob.
I felt so bad for Rob, dude. Listen, I did. I wanted to party with Rob because Rob wanted to party and I was down to party, but like I wasn't going to where Rob was partying, and he's like, dude, we can walk outside and hang out. And I'm like, Rob, they got all the shine, bro.
I got to work. I'm working this.
Right. He's another one, man. But somebody reached out to me and they were like, known this dude my whole life since high school. He's one hell of a dude and he's one hell of a fucking keyboard player. And I'm like, that's the kind of shit I like to hear. That's why I know like talking to all of you guys is awesome. And then the drummer, I really want to get a hold of her because like she tasted my drink and she was like, dude, that's enough to make me fall off the bus.
That's great.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight after this. This was a wonderful show. I am not going to be able to sleep. My energy level is through the roof.
Thank you. Tarzan, you rock, man. Thank you guys both, man. This is great. I knew when I saw you in the crowd, like I had to come up and say, hey, man. I knew there was a connection to be made. Right?
Listen,
so it was great.
You don't even understand how much we appreciate this. And hey, you're ever in my area, please. And if I'm coming to your area, I'm going to let you know.
Please do. Yeah, I'd love it.
I'm going to bring some,
We're going to come do some tattooing, We'll come tattoo Bigfoot on you.
Come on, it's waiting. It's waiting for you.
Hold on, that was the shiniest, smoothest looking, cleanest, clearest canvas I've ever seen, Rich.
We'll see what it looks like by next year. We're gonna have you back on. So
I want, by the way, look, there you go. And I want the heavy metal Moonshine, that thing right there on my arm right here. That's what I need.
Okay.
Right
hey, Norm, listen. Just, you know what? Private message me for real. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania. Thanks. I travel. Okay. We could always work something out. I would be more than honored to tattoo you, man.
Thank you so much. That'd be great. All right.
Could always, if you need more stickers to put one on your guitar or whatever your tour box is.
Just send them to him. Just send them to him.
Deal.
Hey, we got merch too, baby. I put you in a heavy metal moonshine hat.
Send the moonshine.
Yeah.
It's
Crossing state lines. Uh-oh. Ixnay.
when you're in Virginia
Yeah.
too. Listen, they don't want me down there because I'll take over.
Right.
Take over.
Uh-oh.
Tim Smith, here I come.
Look out. Look out.
Hey,
Awesome.
Norman, listen, brother, you have a good night. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Bro,
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it, man.
Rock on, brother. Rock on.
Thank you for this. Good times.
Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.